Hi there, everybody. My name is Kate, and welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. So let's talk about having a case of the yabbits. Yeah, but most of us know that when we say something and we add the but, it contradicts whatever we said before. I love you, but it contradicts the thing before. Whether we have consciously been made aware of that or not, we can really kind of pick up what somebody's laying down in front of us that, yeah, I like your hair, but I really don't. And here's how I'm going to tell you that. However, I'm trying to soft shoe it by giving you whatever I said beforehand before I just got to the part that really is going to probably ruin your day. So part of clearer communication with people, especially when we're trying to set down boundaries or we are setting down boundaries, we can really say things like, I love you, and I need to step away from this for a few minutes, so that it's continuing to reinforce every single time when we reinforce new dialogue, new communications. It is putting down a brick in the yellow brick road of, I gotta go this way, and it's my own solo journey here in my lane. We can be traveling in the same direction. However, we cannot share the same lane. I love you, but, rather than saying things like that, we can really be changing the dialogue between us in those tiny ways where it seems like it wouldn't really work, or that it wouldn't be really, something that could be a game changer. However, we are all so used to being conditioned with the blah, 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 but blah, blah, blah. There's usually that, tempo and the ambiance of, I'm waiting to hear the letdown, because that's usually how that works if we're contradicting whatever we said before. It's a horrible day, but the sun's out. We don't usually hear that. We usually hear it the other direction. So the way that we can really help to start making those changes in ourselves and with other people in clearer communication is to use and instead, or to just put a period. I love you. I need to go now. Instead of using that little but, it turns into BUTTTTTT ellipsis, and we're going to be talking about this for another 3 days or another 3 decades, or however long we're willing to argue our point. When we put a period and a finality on that and don't leave any open door, it really does help in many different ways, both in our tone of voice, in the actual conversation itself, in the dialogue, in the specific words we use. Every single area that we're emphasizing, it helps to continue laying down the new boundary of, this is what I expect for myself, or this is what I'm doing for myself, or this is how I feel about this. Whatever it is, we are owning it, and we're not slicking around and slippering around by saying, I love you, but, if only you, something along those lines. We're owning, I love you, and I need to go now, or I love you. I love being married to you, and I need to talk to you about some areas of our relationship that are troublesome to me. Whatever the dialogue is, it isn't always, quite so serious and, life or death situation there, or on the edge of, breaking up a marriage or something along those lines. However, if we can get really good about saying those kinds of things, we will also stop justifying our own existence. I was going to do that, but, when we really get to where we can say I a whole lot more, leave but out of the conversation, and then leave you also, because oftentimes when we say I love you, but you need to, you and I and but all together in, some combination in the same conversation usually turns into just swatting it back and forth of who's right, who's wrong, and how much I can justify my position. But I love you, it usually, for a lot of people in these very tight relationships or poor communication relationships, it isn't about love necessarily or respect. It's about finding a way to, how do I own what I say and be able to stand in the duplicity and the complexity of saying, I do love you, and I still need to step away, or I do love you, and I expect it to be better communication between us. I do love you, and whatever it is, rather than negate what we've said, because people already know that. How many times have we heard, I love you, but, or I think you're looking really fantastic, but, we all kind of wait for that bump, and whatever it was that was beforehand really kind of falls into the dead zone and, no man's land, because whatever it was just taken away with whatever was said that really jabbed us harder in reality. If that's how we're receiving it, if we can get to the point where we don't care what other people are saying, we've gotten very good, more than likely, about saying things in a clear way that, yes, I need to do this, and I'm going to go do that now. You may stay here and do whatever you need to do, and I need to leave now, instead of saying, but I'm going to, because it really puts an imbalance in it. It keeps it a far more neutral when we use those kinds of statements and those kinds of connecting words. And so if that helps you in some way to kind of clear up the communication anywhere at all, that we can get right to the chase, get right to the problem, get right to the issue, and get there without putting any waffle room anywhere, it really helps immensely to get problems fixed more exponentially. We oftentimes wobble around in areas where we feel like we don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm going to, whereas most people are kind of on the edge with, okay, I can't really stand waiting. Just say it. And we know that it's coming anyway. I want to, give you some feedback, but I don't want to hurt your feelings. We are already kind of bracing for it. I don't know about you, but I just rather get right to the point, get there with whatever you're going to try to lay out on me, whatever you want to blame me with, shame me with, or possibly help me with, however it's getting there. It's just a lot less clear if we're really having to stand around waiting for, the incoming. We're bracing for impact. And when we use clear communication, such as, I'd like to give you some feedback, may I do that? At whatever level that we're interacting with someone, if it's a child or if it's a spouse or if it's a close family member, we're going to expect that would be a two-way communication that's going to be getting real super healthy the more that we do, or we might have to step away from that, whatever you need to do. However, having expectations, limited expectations of ongoing conversation is going to require that we meet some certain things, but, isn't even necessary, because we say things like, I'd like to talk to you about this, period. I do not feel good with this, or I do not like that. I am having a problem with this. When this happens, I feel this way. When you forget my birthday, for instance, I feel unloved. But I know you love me. Or the other person shoots back with, but I love you. That's not a contradiction. Those are using apples and oranges for comparison, or apples and dump trucks, as I heard recently. Those are two separate things. I love you. Okay, that's fine. I get that. However, you've forgotten my birthday and I feel unloved. There's no way for that to be a comparison for real. We use it all the time. It's a great weapon. We try to deflect and say, but I love you, or I do love you. I feel unloved means I'm owning the fact that behavior doesn't demonstrate to me a loving thing that I can actually see or feel. And me owning that and saying, when you do this, isn't casting off the responsibility for how I feel. It's saying, when you do this, this is the reaction I have in me. And how could you possibly say, I love you, as the retort? You're speaking in a whole separate language, on another planet, in another situation that has nothing to do with this, because I'm owning the fact that this is how I feel in this situation, and you're trying to tell me that I don't feel that way, or that I shouldn't feel that. There's a whole lot of judgment in that, and we're not even talking in the same dynamic. We're on two separate playing fields with this. And so people have used this style of communication. It is the predominant style of communication for most people on the planet. It's what most of us grew up learning. It's what we hear. It's what we see. Deflection and non-accountability, and oh, you're just so sensitive. There's always a reason. And if I can put a but in there, then I'm going to give you the reason why I'm justified in saying whatever I'm going to say that hurts your feelings or already has. I love your hair, but that gives me the justification, because I've given myself permission in my mind, and yours, if you'll buy that it's okay for me to acknowledge the thing that I really hate about your hair, or that I don't like, or that I don't approve, or whatever all that juicy nonsense is. I've given myself room to justify that I can say that hurtful thing, or that inappropriate thing, or whatever it is that I've already said. Well, I love your hair. I gave you a compliment. What's your problem? Or, I love you. What's your problem? That's really not clear. And a lot of people don't understand that those little microaggressions, we go through them millions of times a day when we're trying to communicate with people who play that way. And it's not so bad, when we're in relationship with a stranger for 10 seconds, possibly needing to move around them in the grocery store or something like that. However, that's a perfect place where we can really, be practicing so that we can get very good about having those more intimate conversations with people around us, that I see you're struggling with that, and I need to move around you. Is there a way that I can move around you? For instance, in the grocery store, I see you're having a hard time. Is there something I can do to help you because I need to move around you? Or whatever it is. I mean, giving people grace in their moment without having to justify my position for why I'm annoyed, why I'm bothered, why I'm put out, why I'm whatever I am. It really is kind, and it's a beautiful thing to do. However, we aren't required to go, deep into the closet when it starts hurting us to do so. We're not really extending grace when we cannot do that. And so I can't really extend someone grace to say, yeah, I feel really good about you just blasting me that, you love my hair, but the color is a little bit much, or something like that, whatever it would be. If I'm not in a place where I can receive that well and that's going to ruin my whole day, then no, it's abusive either way. However, that could really rock my world if I'm not strong enough yet to be able to say, wow, that really hurts my feelings and I need to go away. Unless we can have a conversation about the need for that to stop happening like that. Please either say you like my hair and leave it at that as a done deal. That little dot at the end, that makes it a nice, complete sentence there. That's a good one. Or do not make comment about my hair at all. And if I open that door and say, what do you think of my hair? Then we might need to have a little bit more conversation about what's really fair because I opened the door for you. But known offenders in places where, they're saying and doing things like this, these are judgments, they're critical, usually they're a superiority of some kind. I have some need to, tell you really in a very sublime way how you should be doing your life or how you should play. And the truth is we're not there anymore. We're really not. Human beings need to be able to take their own spot on the planet, claim it, own it, and be okay with it. And a lot of people are doing that. However, it brings up unnecessary battle if we just start making those little subliminal, subversive changes to the conversation. It helps grow our muscles a little bit to be able to say, yes, I agree with you. And I have my own opinion about this, or I do not agree with you. I agree with me saying I need to say this to you. I agree with you. However, if I was going to make a change, that's slightly different than but. It doesn't negate. It says I agree with you. However, I have some things that I might say that would tweak it slightly from my perspective. Or I agree with you, period. Here's my view. We can say a lot of things, but you hear how the tone is slightly different in how we do that. And if you do not hear the difference in that tone, start paying attention to conversation. And better yet, start paying attention to how do I feel when I hear people saying things like that to me, or I hear other people having those kinds of conversations. How do I feel when I start to say things like, I like your hair, but, start noticing those things. Usually, more likely than not, if we're listening to ourselves in conversation, we're more likely to be paying attention to it when we're receiving it. And if we get to the point that we can really hear that when we're sending it out, then we've really become quite a champion. But most of the time, it's because people really feel terrible about the people that are complimenting them or giving them feedback or offering something to them, and they don't understand why. And it could very well be why that it's a mixed message. It comes with complications, and it comes with obligations to be doing or saying or being something different that's more acceptable in some way to somebody else or to society or to the family or to the job or to the role or whatever else other predisposed idea is that we're supposed to be conforming to, that we should be conforming to. So I hope that's been helpful to you, and I hope you enjoy your day no matter what part of the day you're in. And I love you, but ain't no such thing. I do love being me, and I hope you do love being you, because regardless of what anybody would say about you, regardless of what anybody could do for you or against you, you are who you are, and you are made in perfection. Now, honing our skills to get better about how we can express that perfection in the most glorious and beautiful way that's balanced comes with being able to stand up for ourselves without any buts, without any, judgment, without any of that. And if we're not doing that to ourselves, then why in the world would we allow someone else to do that to us either? Getting strong enough can start in the grocery store with, I need this now. And whatever it is, get small or start small and get bigger. You walk before, or excuse me, crawl before you walk. That's how we do it. So anyway, take care, as I said, and enjoy your day. And get within your skin, friends, because you're divine. It is so, so balanced, and there's no contradiction at any time. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye, my beautiful friends.